Okay, I'm finally going to do my Drugstore foundation. It took me a while to make this because I wanted to make sure that that I can really talk about how long it lasts, what to do, what not to do, because I've tried different ways to wear all these different products, but I think for the most part this is going to be all Drugstore. I actually always end up using this unless I'm using my strobe cream, but recently I've been using this as an acne control oil-free moisturizer. It really does help my oil kind of stay sustained as much as possible. I have very oily skin. Like throughout the day my skin gets like super oily. It's something I try to just embrace and work with. For the most part I get really oily here and a little bit on my forehead, but mostly it's like all right here that I get really gross and oily. So whatever. First I'm taking my True Match. I finally bought this again and I forgot how much I loved it. It's not the longest lasting or anything like that, but it's just like good quality concealer. So I put that underneath my eyes. So the brush I'm using is also kind of from the Drugstore. If you consider Ulta Drugstore, I'm not using like high-end stuff from Ulta. If you consider Ulta Drugstore, then this is a Drugstore for sure. This brush is the Expert Face Brush. I did recently try the Age Rewind Corrector, or this is the neutralizer, and I actually did wear this in that one picture that I posted. So I'll just put a little bit of that. In the camera, I look freakishly white, but in person, it doesn't look that white. But isn't that how it always goes? Okay. I have tried the this one, what is this? The Revlon Color Whip foundation, and I just find that the color is just not my color. It's like very pink. And then I tried 310 Fit Me foundation, which looks really pretty as you apply it and as you wear it, but it disappears like within an hour. Like it's gone. And I remember having this a while back, like a long time ago, like maybe 3 years ago, and that was my issue with it, is like, where the hell did my foundation go? So it's really pretty if you're just doing oh, I'm just gonna go for dinner and then come right back home. Do that, because it's like a really nice, pretty foundation. But in terms of longevity, it just doesn't last at all. This is what I used to wear all the time way back when. This is a Sonia Kashuk tinted moisturizer. It used to come in a white tube. I'm going to use the buffing brush from Real Techniques, and I'm just going to squirt a teeny bit. And I personally have been liking the lighter foundations, as in lighter wearing foundations, because I'm starting to just kind of like embrace my skin type and the things that my skin does way more now than ever. And I literally haven't used my Studio Fix Fluid or Pro Longwear in like, what, 2 weeks maybe? Like, yeah, 2 weeks. So it's kind of exciting. And I'm just going to put a little bit on my forehead. I'm not going to put any in the perimeter because it just doesn't need it there. So that's why I'm kind of like brushing it down. I will have to cheat though, because if I get blemishes, like for instance there's a scar right there, and there's a little bit of scarring down there, I still have to use my Studio Finish concealer from MAC. It's just the kind that like it's like the perfect match for my skin, and it does what it's supposed to. Like it stays on forever and ever if you're doing it on like concealing skin. This is a CoverGirl 565 in Tawny Fauve, pretty much a pressed powder from CoverGirl. And I have this, I used to wear this all the time. So this is Drugstore as well. And I'm using this as my contour color. If you want it a little bit sharper, you can use this really cool brush. It's not like low end or drugstore, but they do have some similar. I can't remember where, but this is from Morphe Cosmetics or Morphe brushes. Can you see? Yeah. And this is what I usually do. I like this brush. Some people don't like it. I kind of draw it down and blend it with the brush, and then blend it upwards. Oh, this is like W4, but this is the L'Oreal True Match Blendable powder. I used to use this all the time in the winter, but it's way too light for me, so I don't want to use it right now. So I'm going to use some banana powder. It's not drugstore, but it's like a version of drugstore because it costs less expensive. But I'm just going to put... So banana powder is tricky. I still like working through it. So I think it's okay to use underneath the eyes and like right here, but the forehead is where it looks too light and it doesn't really work for me. So I try to keep it like in this little circle and that's it. Even maybe a little bit on my brows. Cinnamon by NYX, and it's pretty much like a straight up like orange. Hold on, let me see if you could see. Yeah, this is the color that it looks like. Oh, and for somebody who asked, someone asked about, someone asked, what is that? Hot mess. They're like, oh, I'm always curious what that is. And I'm like, damn it. It's a swatch from when me and my boyfriend, when we first moved here. We bought the condo, and it was the people who owned it before. So they had, I guess, they hadn't even fully moved in because there were still swatches on the wall. And it's so funny because all the swatches are fugly. Like, they're all ugly. So, but we haven't gotten around to this bedroom. This is the second bedroom. We haven't touched it yet. So, yeah, little procrastinators here. So this blush is very pigmented. So I use a dual fiber brush with this. Like longevity wise, it's not that great, but it's awesome. Like, it's really pretty. This is the Wet n Wild like skin finish. So I like to use a more dense brush with it because it doesn't pick up as easily as some of the MAC skin finishes, for instance. But I like to put it on my actual cheeks too, because it for me it's like a blush highlight. Kind of do it on both, and I get really close to the base of the lash and then wiggle and then go up. I'm gonna put on this lipstick. It's called Cherry Picking by Wet n Wild, and it's so pretty. It's almost like a red that's pink, but I'm gonna put some on first and then line it with a NYX liner. Like, I don't even think MAC has a color like this. I would say Girl About Town is the closest thing to this, but this one's like way more pigmented. So that's my updated foundation routine. For the most part, I used these two products that you can get like at Target. After like 5 hours maybe, that's when it starts to kind of break apart a little bit. And it's not much. It's just more like it kind of wears down. Throughout the day, I still will need to blot this out, but I'm okay with that. Doesn't, it's not like the worst thing in the world. So as long as you're kind of applying it in these few steps, it looks just like high end, right? Oh, and one more thing for a highlighter that I used to use all the time were these mica pigments. Have you guys ever heard of these? They're like, they're at malls and stuff, and they have like buy 5 for $25 and 10 for $10, like something like that. But they're these awesome pigments that they're like super shimmery. They're like, whew. They're like a cross between a highlight and glitter. They're so pretty. So that's another way to get that high shine if you want it. Thanks for requesting this video. I'm so happy you guys are interactive with me on Instagram. But if you guys see any pictures that you really like, tag me on it or send me a direct message on Instagram so I can see what kind of makeup you guys want to see. Bye!